Hey, 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 listen up. सोच जरा सोच 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 आसानी क्यों ढूंढ रहा तू रोड 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 जहाँ जाएगी ना रोड ऐसे आएंगे कुछ मोर देन यू gotta pave make way खुद के लिए यो सोच जरा सोच 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 छोड़ी क्यों है ख्वाबों की वो खोज 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 छोड़ चेस अट्रैक्ट करो मैप पूरा ट्रैक करो all you gotta do is freaking go 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 सोच जरा बैठ के अब सोचते हैं सोच जरा ये कि लोगों में वो सोच नहीं है खास इनके शौक नहीं है काहेली किस बात की जब सारा कुछ यहाँ फोन पे है प्रोडक्ट सोच जिगर इधर सारे अपने जोन में है 9 to 5 ही करना बता और कोई तेरे गोल्स नहीं है कंफर्ट जोन में है बाहर आके गौर करे शुरू अपनी खोज करें कहाँ पे ना ही स्नोर करे रोज लड़े जाग जाएं सोच पे ध्यान करें सोच पे ध्यान करें पता ब्रो जीत का तू जानता है पता ब्रो रजा ब्रो मेहनत में है रब की भी रजा ब्रो मरा हो ज़मीर तो क्या जिंदगी का मजा ब्रो क्यों भूल गया रस्मों में सोच हो रही जब्त गायब हो रहे तेरे ख्वाब just like sugar in a teacup सोच जरा सोच 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 आसानी क्यों ढूंढ रहा तू रोड 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 जहाँ जाएगी ना रोड ऐसे आएंगे कुछ मोर देन यू gotta pave make way खुद के लिए यो सोच जरा
Hey everyone, thank you once again for joining our Sochology Edu series. My name is Mudassir Bungish and I'll be hosting today's session. We have a very special guest for you today who will be speaking to us about customer retention. As always, whether you're joining us from LinkedIn or YouTube, please post your questions into the chat and we'll bring them up either during or at the end of the session. So this is a great opportunity for all those folks who are live to ask Faisal questions, any kind of thoughts you might have. So customer retention is a super hard nut to crack, and with the ever continuing downturn in the global economy and increasingly discerning customers, reducing customer churn for your product is now more important than ever. So we're excited to be joined by Faisal Khushnood today. Faisal brings over 12 years of experience in the tech industry across multiple domains such as customer success, product marketing, and product management for the last 7 years. So that's an amazing cross-functional mix to have. I think if you had been a developer, it would have been like perfect trifecta. But overall, that's amazing experience. We're looking forward to what you have to tell us. So throughout his career, Faisal has had the opportunity to work on amazing products that create impact and value for end customers. His experience includes working at Tradekey, PureVPN, Venture Dive, Sastaticket, and now at Kayak, which is a travel search engine. So on the Kayak side, Faisal is currently working with his team to build a travel management platform for the B2B industry. This platform is new, but it's already serving customers like PwC, TripAdvisor, and numerous SMEs. Faisal, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I wish that I could learn coding. I still try my best, but
You and me
something
both.
something that is definitely in my mind, and I'll try to do that. But AI is making it harder. I mean, it's making things easier, so that's why I'm not going there, maybe. But yeah, hopefully I'll do that. Should I just get started?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, so when I learned customer success at PureVPN for the first time, Lincoln Murphy was the guy that was I got introduced to, and I was just looking at why people are churning uh, at the very end of the customer journey. And the first thing Lincoln Murphy taught me that was that churn um, happens very early in the life cycle. You may see it later, but that's not true. So the thing is that you have to start from the very beginning, from the acquisition, then onboarding, then engagement, and then renewal. If you do not start from the beginning, you might see the churn later, but the customer has churned long ago. So that's the key point that I learned from Lincoln. Uh, okay. Okay, let's start with the acquisition.
Yeah, sorry, Faisal, we had a bit of a hiccup there. I think we lost connection for a little while. I did post on LinkedIn to let folks know. So
Okay.
apologies about that.
Okay, should I resume now?
Yeah, you're good to go. It's working
Okay.
now.
Cool. So what I was saying that Lincoln Murphy, I learned everything from Lincoln Murphy. Obviously, it's his book, his blogs are amazing. So anyway, what the basic thing I learned is that customer can churn at any point in the life cycle, but the seeds of churns are planted early. So that's the main thing. Um, So anyway, let's start from acquisition, then onboarding, then engagement, then renewal. If you go through all the stages of a life cycle, only then you can prevent churn. If you wait for customer to churn and then figure out the reason, that's going to be too late. So let's start with acquisition, how we can prevent churn at the time of acquisition. The key phrase would be acquire the right fit customer. Easier said than done. Some companies would even say, hey, let the customer come in. We don't care if it's a wrong fit customer. We want the money. But in the end, if you check LTV, you would realize that you are not making money. Most cases nowadays, cost of acquisition is really high. So if you could figure out what your right fit customer is and wrong fit, and you just target the right fit customer, you could save a lot of churn from there. And it's not just hypothetical. We have seen from HubSpot, Salesforce. Don't quote me on the numbers. I just Google, did not double check the numbers. But anyway, HubSpot has done really well when they show that HubSpot only acquired the ideal customer profile. They have a ICP and they only acquired such customers. Salesforce does the same. So if in their process they figure out this customer is not the right fit for us, their needs are different and our solution is different, they do not acquire that customer, which leads to better retention rate. And there is a Forrester study that I came across, and that also suggests the same thing. Anyway, it's very hard to get. It's a very broad topic, so I would say just acquire right fit customer, and that should solve a lot of things later down in the funnel. Once you figure out the acquisition, yeah, sorry, good. If you have a question.
No, I just had a question on this, Faisal. So the examples you gave, right? HubSpot, Salesforce, these guys are pretty much titans in the industry, right? And so they can afford to not take on customers that they don't feel are a fit for their profile. Do you have any thoughts on, and I don't know if you were going to get to this, but thoughts on maybe like smaller software companies that are obviously trying to, gather as much cash as possible from customers. And so, their spread is much wider than perhaps these folks who are in a position right now. Like, does this also apply to them, I guess, is the question I'm asking.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant question. I mean, some of the smaller companies that I've worked with, this is the slide, this is the advice that they would least likely to adopt, honestly. They would say, hey, I mean, we can't say no to money. And the core reason is they are not calculating LTV, honestly. If they calculate LTV and CAC, and they would realize that they are not making money. In fact, that is costing a lot of money serving those customers, then giving them support, and then they end up refund and cancellation. I think that they would realize, some of the companies I've heard at least, that they are very serious from the start. But honestly, for any startup, saying no to a customer, it's a hard thing. So I wouldn't blame anyone, honestly. But that's the reality. If you could do that. The second big thing, Mudassir, that I've seen a lot is customer onboarding. You can never stop about talking this on this topic. And after a while, I found this definition from Clayton Murphy, which is the simplest that I still remember, which is help customer achieve desired outcome with appropriate experience. If you can help the customer achieving their outcome and just make sure the experience is good, then you have a best onboarding in place. Now, it's easier said than done. You need to figure out what customer really wants to achieve and what is the good experience. I want to give real life examples to make it more personalized. So at PureVPN, when you make the payment, there were usually customers coming to unblock, not know much about VPN, honestly. So they make the VPN service, but now they do not know how to unblock Netflix. They would just go and open the Netflix and they would assume it would be unblocked. They did not know they have to download a VPN application, then connect to it, and all of that step. Now, we were not helping them unblock Netflix, which is we call desired outcome. So what we figured out, then when the payment is done, we say thank you for making a payment, and that's it. Now that page, we were literally, I mean, it was a wastage of space, honestly. So what we did with that page, once you are done with the payment, we would say, hey, thank you for making the payment. Now here are 3 steps. Step 1, please download the app. Second, here is your username and password that you need to enter in the app. And third, here is the tutorial if you do not know how to connect VPN. And this, believe me, has skyrocketed our activation rate. Now, so this is just one of the example. If you can remember how to just quickly help the customer achieve the desired outcome with appropriate experience, then it's all sorted out. About the appropriate experience, so for example, if customer downloads the app and they run into any errors, which is the VPN is not connecting, then we could say that is not an appropriate experience. It has to be flawless. So if they are talking to customer support or any friction that is coming in, then that means that, okay, that did achieve their desired outcome in the end, but the experience was not appropriate. So you have to make sure both they have paid for it. So both things are aligned. Some of the examples, Trello tries very hard and they make sure that you have a pre-built board templates so you can just quickly get started and achieve your desired outcome. This is how they are making it possible. Duolingo, they evaluate what is your proficiency level and they customize your lessons accordingly so they can give you value instantly. It's all about giving instant value. If you could do that with appropriate experience, then it's great. Uh, Key metrics that I have seen that we need to track, activation rate is definitely the one. Activation rate is the one that, let's say, unblock Netflix. So we want to, or in our case, it was making first VPN connection. So we need to, so we figured out how many signups we got and how many people of them make the first connection. That is our activation rate. The second is time to first value. That is when you can understand appropriate experience. Some people would take 24 hours to unblock Netflix, some 1 hour. So that time is very crucial. If they take more than a certain threshold, that experience would not be great, and then they would eventually might not renew your service. So these are the two key metrics that I would suggest that we monitor. Any question at this point?
No, we don't have any questions, but I'll just add, I think what you highlighted, the examples that you highlighted, it's a great example to get out of your own head at times, right? Like you would think that you as a user, yes, you've got the subscription, perhaps me and you, we're both in tech, we're going to download it. If we don't get the download prompt, we know that we need to do that, right? But you as a product manager, us as product managers, we need to get out of our own heads and just think of, how can we make it as simple as possible for the amateur user, who isn't as tech savvy. So that's a great example, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, that example really worked for me. I mean, the thank you page. Even when I joined Sastaticket and when you are done booking the flight, I made sure that we do not just say thank you. We added e-ticket on that page, and that really wowed the user. Hey, we instantly got the ticket rather than waiting for an email. So
100%,
everywhere I go, I utilize the thank you page now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I recently booked a flight. I didn't even see, it's so daunting, right, to wait for your email because you don't know how long it's going to take. But I guess there's some bookings and stuff going on. So it's if you get that instant gratification, that's kind of what we're all seeking right now, instant value. That's awesome. Cool.
Exactly. I mean, and some of the users do not even have email or not frequently use it. So there was a wow experience when we added that. Okay, so if you figure out the acquisition part, the onboarding part, the hardest part, honestly, is engagement. That's where the most companies, at least for my limited understanding, struggle. Is to keep giving the value. Okay, if someone came in to unblock Netflix, they watched the series. In my case, I watched Breaking Bad. Then I didn't find any show on Netflix that I want to see. So there was no reason for me to continue. So in every product, you need to keep giving the reason to the user. And engagement, my guru that I follow is Nir Eyal. His book is called Hooked, and he is the master in creating habit building products. I believe if you could learn this guy, I mean, you could really crack the engagement. So his definition is continuously adding value and benefits to keep customer engaged. And that is extremely important, and it could be done by many methods. Okay, I want to understand. So one method is, for example, I did not get any value from Netflix, but hey, what Netflix did, Netflix pushed me to share that subscription with my friends and family, in my case with my wife. Now she watched a lot of she found a lot of good content, and when the time came for renewal, I could not stop the subscription because my wife was watching Netflix, right? So it's not important that you push the user. If no, you know that user does not get continuous value, just make him to share that subscription with other people. That could do the job. Some other ways within the product, what you can do, I think that really changed social media was unlimited scroll. So there was a time when you come to bottom of the page, you have to click second page. It was loading time. People used to drop there. So unlimited scroll really hooked the user, and it becomes so ingrained in your mind that you do not leave the subscription. And then this likes, views, and comments. I mean, it makes you keep coming back to the product. Now, these are the easy examples in social world, obviously, but let's say Salesforce, I found they have training programs. It's a technical software Salesforce. So if I'm using as a person and I do not find the answers quickly, I do not have community or training programs, I would churn. So the way Salesforce has done, and they have achieved higher retention rate, is through making sure that their customers are continuously educated through community and training programs. And then Nir Eyal also mentioned in his book, there are these Fitbit and Apple Watch companies. What they do is they keep giving you goals, milestones, streaks. So you just keep using their product. So anyway, the easiest thing that I heard Nir Eyal say, just give a user a reason to open the app. If you can give, and it does not have to be a push notification, because an external reason that doesn't always work. It would work for a while. It has to come from internal need. So if you could develop that need inside people brain, they open the app instantly, like social media apps, then you have cracked engagement. Again, easier said than done. And any point here, Mudassa?
No, I think, did you say crack engagement?
I mean,
Or yeah. That is, I think that's kind of how they describe this endless scrolling.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I think from what I understand, what you just stated, it's a lot of this is psychological as well, right? So you're building those habits so that the user can continue coming back to the app. Now, whether they get something out of it, or I guess, yeah, whether they get something out of it or not, whether they perform a certain action or buy something, that's kind of irrelevant. It's just bringing them back to the app, and then eventually they'll buy it. So it's understanding consumer habits, right? A lot of that psychology. And the example you gave for Netflix, I think, is a perfect reflection of that. So even though you might not like it, there's other people within your family that realize, okay, there's other people within a household that might find value, and then they say, okay, well, I don't want to cancel my subscription, and you're still on the hook paying for that. So interesting stuff. I'm
exactly.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you can maybe go over some of the key metrics, just very briefly, that you've listed here.
Yeah. So anyway, I've seen a lot of metrics, MRR or ARR, depending on your subscription that you offer, and DAU, which is daily active user, weekly active user. But honestly, these metrics are only makes sense if you understand what you want to track. Basically, you want to track
Mm-hmm.
usage, but usage is, like, honestly, it's a very subjective metric. So for, let's say, even when with a in a world of VPN, if I want to unblock Netflix, so my need would be that I would at least watch Netflix on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So if weekly average MAU would WAU makes sense there. But if there's any other persona, let's say security persona, that I'm buying VPN to make sure that I'm anonymous on the internet and for my privacy, then you have to track DAU. So you really need to understand what your needs of the persona are, and then make
Yeah,
sure that you are tracking the right metric. That's the most important thing that I've learned.
that's a great point. Awesome.
Uh, yeah, I'll move to the next slide. So if you have done acquisition right, onboarding right, engagement right, even then people might not win you. Okay, it's not that easy. So at the very last stage, what you can do, okay, the easiest thing you can do is that making the renewal process seamless. In my learning, if I have to give one action point, I would say is that make sure that your customer who has purchased the subscription is on recurring renewal model, so they do not have to actively renew the membership. So I have learned with different companies, so they, if you group your users into recurring payment method and non-recurring, you would always see that non-recurring payment method, if all of their stats are right, metrics are right, their renewal churn rate is always higher. Why? Because they have to go and manually renew the membership. So make sure that you avoid non-renewal payment methods if you can. Obviously, again, easier said than done. That's the easiest hack that you can do. Um, so I think that that is important. The other things, so Dropbox does that. Many companies offer it auto recurring options. That's their first weapon of retention. The second is that you offer different kind of membership, so annual, multi-year. So customer has less time to think. Like if it's a monthly membership, customer has every month has to decide whether they want to continue or not,
Hmm.
and that every month is a very short cycle. If you sell a 5-year membership, so the next time they have to think about recurring or renewing or not, it's after 5 years. So if you book them for long term, that's again a hack. Obviously there are downsides to it, if because you will be selling cheaper and all, but yeah, that's another debate, but that's a hack that I see people do. And the last, again, as we talk about, you can start selling bundle offers. So if 5 people are using your subscription, there is a high chance that one or two of them would still want to keep the membership. So there are more reasons for them to keep the membership than to stop. So the more reasons you can give your users to keep recurring, the better it is. Key metrics, obviously, we check the renewal or churn rate. Mostly people obviously check churn rate. Net revenue retention. Revenue, I've seen not a lot of companies track, but I think they should. That would account for, so it's not just renewal, but also upsell and cross sell. So you would know which accounts are giving you more money, even though every customer is renewing. So I think net revenue retention, I don't see it being tracked a lot. And CLV, I've seen a lot of people talk about it, but again, I've seen very few startups have implemented this. I cannot emphasize enough how important this metric is to really understand if you are making profit or not. And nowadays, it's even more important when profitability is the core metric of each company. I would stop here, and if there is anything, I would love to answer.
Yeah, there was a question, Faisal, on one of your previous slides where you were talking about time to first value. So I'll just bring this up if you're okay answering this now. Wasil asks, how would one accurately assess first time or assess time to first value?
Yeah, good question, Vasil. So it starts when the sign up is done or the payment is done. Depends how you want to track that. If it's a payment or if it's a free sign up, let's assume it's a payment. So from payment till you customer achieve their desired outcome. In case of PureVPN, it was connecting VPN for the very first time. So let's say I made the payment right now, and after an hour, I create my first VPN connection. So here my time to value is 1 hour. So you have to track what is that time to value for all the customers, and then figure out what is the sweet spot, and then make sure all the customers achieve that desired outcome within that time frame. If they are not, then it's a good indicator that they would churn.
Awesome.
Um, I would go on to my last two slides. So what I talked about is mostly the life cycle and the basic stuff. I want to give a framework, and it's not my framework. Obviously, I'm not that good. It's a very known framework, which is you monitor customer health score. If you have thousands of users, let's talk about Netflix, Spotify. They have thousands of hundreds of thousands of users. How do you know which one is going to churn and which one is not? So there's a concept that you start measuring health score, and then what happens is based on that scoring, you give them three, whatever you call them, I don't know, tags or labels, which is green, yellow, and red. Green means that these users are healthy, they are at less risk. Yellow means they are at risk. So your product team, your customer success team, make sure that they you reach out to these users and make sure that they convert from yellow to green. And red is someone they will definitely churn, and then you need to make sure that before their expiry comes, you convert them from red to green. This is the easiest concept if you can implement. And the so what is hard is how do you categorize these people into green, yellow, and red labels? That's a problem. So some of the things you can do, obviously it's a very broad topic, but I can just quickly go through, is that their usage, if they are using it regularly or not, are they active, what is the score they are giving you, are they giving you good NPS, if they are talking to your support team, are they giving you thumbs up or thumbs down, you know, their behavior, if is their ticket volume, and is it high or low, are they participating in your community forums, what's their engagement with your customer success team, and their financial health. The biggest thing is, are they first time customers, or they have used your service before? If they are first time customers, for most companies they are at the highest risk of churn. Okay, usually what happens is that after one, two, or maybe three renewal, those customers are safe. You can stop giving them much attention because they are safe users, they are in the green zone. But if they are first timers, I mean, these are the people, they need a lot of attention. And
Mhm.
also, are they on a recurring payment method or non-recurring? If they are on a non-recurring payment method, that's a very big indicator, a red flag that they might churn. Have they used any other add-on, or they use anything else from your subscription? So these are just very rough things that I'm talking about. If so, the easiest way is that you come up with hypothesis and say I NPS, let's say, and you say those people who give me 8 and above NPS, they tend to churn less, and those people who give me less than 5 NPS, they churn always. Let's say you can do this with your data team, and then make sure that whoever giving you less than 8 or less than 5, whatever your threshold is, you put them in red zone or yellow zone. So this is how you start putting people in green, yellow, red. Once you have this system in place, then you are at a very good position to handle all of your customers. So you give less time to green customers and more time to yellow and red. It's a very big task, or I would say framework to implement. But if you could achieve that, that I think that it works really well.
Mhm. Yeah, Faisal, are there any platforms that you're aware of that kind of track this already?
Yes.
Rather, okay, that'd be
So
great
to
to know.
Tango and Gainsight are the two biggest one. They literally add this green, yellow, red sign against each profile. So if you are in that tool, so I can literally see that there's a profile named Mudassir and
Uh-huh.
he is in red. And if I click on red, it would also give me reason, hey, Mudassir has NPS lower than 5. So I would also know the reason. Oh, Mudassir came to our customer support chat and he mentioned that he is going to churn or he does not like our service or whatever. So it would give you the reason, and then your customer success team can proactively reach out to Mudassir and similar users to make sure that they convert into green. And this is a very good framework to improve your retention rate. An excellent framework, honestly. And
Yeah.
Gainsight and Totango, both of these platforms have tons of content how to implement this. So whatever I learned, honestly, I learned from these two platforms, and I have used both of them.
Awesome, man. That's great. I didn't know there were like dedicated platforms for this, right? Because like you said, this is a pretty daunting task. If there's a platform that can do it, why not, right? Rather than trying to build this yourself or scrounging to your data team, trying to get reports and trying to decode all that stuff on a weekly basis, right? And you need this like in real time as well, right? I
Yes.
can't wait for like monthly reports because that's too late. The
Yeah.
customer's probably already churned by that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
I think we are almost on time, so maybe I should stop here. I don't know.
Yeah, we're at time. So Faisal, thank you so much. What I particularly loved about your session was all the the metrics that you provided to track, right? Oftentimes people speak about things that are important, but then it's like, well, you don't know what to do with it. Well, now you know what to do with it. You can look at all these metrics and you can track all these metrics. And if you're not already tracking them, you can start implementing resources to start tracking them so that you can monitor your customer churn. So I learned a ton. Thank you so much, Faisal. On behalf of our product community and the Product Soch team, thank you again for coming and for such an insightful session on such an important topic. I think it's more important now than ever, given, I put that global economy downturn in quotes because it's been going on forever now. We've been hearing about it for like the last, 5+ years. But we can see that, customers are tightening their belts. So again, I think a very, very important topic at a very crucial time. So thank you very much. And thanks to all of you for joining us. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow the Product Soch LinkedIn page so you can be in the know on all future and in-person events and sessions. So thanks again. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for giving me opportunity, Melissa.